In this video, I will show you how a buyer's agent requests that the seller pay their commission. Here we are looking at a California residential purchase agreement, and we're going to scroll down to the second page, which is page 2 of 17, specifically section G3 of paragraph 3. And you'll see here, seller payment for buyer's obligation to compensate buyer's broker, the buyer compensation affirmation section. We know we're at the right place. You must check this box here. Now, what happens if you fill this out and this box is unchecked? See, that's the sort of mistakes I see on these forms all the time. And I think that the intention's there, so you'll likely be okay, but someone can dispute this, and I've seen that happen. So you must check this box so that no one can dispute this. I think it's actually a mistake that CAR put a checkbox here. I know why they did it, but I think it's a poor decision, and hopefully future versions remove this silly checkbox. So that said, after checking this box, you're going to write in the percentage here. So let's say we put 2.5%. Okay, well, we've asked for a 2.5% commission. They have an and section with a dollar amount, so you could put in maybe a transaction coordinator fee or a brokerage fee in addition to the percentage. So you could put in $500, something like that. Or if there's no percentage and you just want to do a flat fee from the seller, you could check this box and write in $15,000, $20,000, whatever you want. And that changes it from a percentage model to a flat fee model. Now, something very important is this section here, where it says buyer affirmatively represents that at the time the offer is made, the buyer has a written agreement with the buyer's broker that is valid, covers the property, and provides for compensation no less, this is the most important part, no less than the amount stated above. What that means is the buyer's agent must have a buyer representation agreement. And on that buyer representation agreement, which must be done by the time, before an offer is drafted for a buyer, a BRBC form, this buyer representation form must be done. It must be executed. That is California state law at this point, not just a realtor policy requirement, but it's California state law. So we scroll down here because this is very important. And it correlates to the purchase agreement. Amount of compensation, here we are, page 1 of the BRBC, and you put in your amount. So let's say 2.5%, okay? There must be a definitive figure. It can't be this checkbox and then some sort of convoluted schedule, if this happens, then the buyer pays that. No, it must be a definitive figure. But here's the thing, it must be equal to or greater than what you're asking for in section G of the purchase agreement. Meaning you cannot put 2.5% here and only have 1% on the BRBC. You are limited in how much you can ask for by whatever you put on the BRBC. So if you put 0.5%, that's the most you can ask for on a purchase agreement. That's the absolute most. This is the limit on the BRBC. So do not engage a buyer client that's not willing to put a reasonable amount that you can then ask for on the purchase agreement. So here we are on the purchase agreement. Make sure that this number is no greater than what's on the BRBC. And that's it for now. That's how you fill it out. Make sure the BRBC properly corresponds with what you have in section G. And that is how you request the seller to pay your buyer's agent compensation. Thanks for watching.